Hello folks, this is the Cinema Snobs here, and today we are reviewing Passengers.
Passengers, starring Jennifer Lawrence and
Chris Pratt.
Pratt.
This is a film directed by Morton Tildum, who directed The Imitation Game a couple years before this. He was up for Oscars. The film was written by John Spates, I believe is how you pronounce his name?
Something like that.
Who has 4 credits to his name, one of them being this film.
Only 4.
He was also one of the co-writers on Prometheus, and he was a co-writer on Doctor Strange earlier this year.
Yeah.
Or earlier last year.
And he's also, what's coming up? I can't remember.
He was one of the writers on The Mummy.
The Mummy, yes. My boy Tom Cruise.
With your boy Tom
excited
Cruise.
about that.
So let's just get into this film.
Yeah, let's dig right in.
It's a sci-fi film. That kind of rips off every sci-fi film that came before it.
It's more of just a romance.
Yeah,
than a
or it wants to be a sci-fi film.
Right.
But no, yeah, it focuses on the romance for some strange reason.
In a way, as the ship implodes, so does their relationship. First, we see this like big spaceship, and naturally, it kind of looks like a mix between a kitchen appliance and like DNA strands, because then it's kind of twirling, and there's like a big beam in the front.
Yeah,
it's the generic random space thing that they got from some third grader that's like, hey, that looks like a cool space design.
And the ship's supposed to be meteor-proof, remember?
Right, yeah. It's supposed to be meteor-proof, except for, like, the big ones.
So the meteor hits the ship, and Chris Pratt's pod opens.
Yeah, there's some malfunctions going on.
So now he's stuck on the ship alone, and he doesn't know what to do.
Right, he's, like, running around. Well, he actually goes through kind of, like, this comedic little, like, 5 minutes of thinking he's not alone on the ship. Right. So he's, like, preparing for his first day of work and, like, going through, like, the whole, like, routines and stuff of, like, oh, gotta wear the right shirt to be an engineer on the ship, or mechanic. He's not really an engineer.
Yeah, he's a mechanic.
And also, it's not specified how far into the future it is, which doesn't help matters at all.
It does not. Then he figures out he's alone, and he starts doing the loner thing. You know, he lets himself go, grows his beard out.
Castaway.
Castaway, Tom Hanks in Castaway.
Wilson, where are you? Wilson! Wilson!
The only companion he has is a single animatronic, like kind of
a robot.
He's
half human.
Yeah, he looks like half human. He's basically like an android that's also a bartender.
Yeah, played by Michael Sheen, by the way. When he goes to this bar with the robot, it is a tribute to The Shining.
Hi, Lloyd. A little slow tonight, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Mr. Torrance. What'll it be?
He's the only android on the ship.
Yeah.
Every other robot we see is looks like a robot.
They have the little vacuum ones that you can like buy on Amazon.
Ones, yeah.
Cleaning only where it has not. Dual cameras for smarter, faster cleaning.
There's like this section of the ship where you can get into a spacesuit and you can literally go out, and it has gravity boots.
It's a reoccurring theme where like they can get on these spaceships and do like spacewalks out.
Yeah, he gets progressively more creepy during that year. Like, at first you kind of feel bad for him, and then he turns into, like, a straight-up creeper.
And I mean, any dude who's been trapped on his ship, alone, and the only other company he has is an animatronic dude, first girl he takes more than 10 seconds to look at is probably going to be the one he ends up falling in love with.
So then he has the debate section, where he's like, should I wake her up? I don't know, should I wake her up? He asks the robot for advice. Right.
And the robot's like, I don't know, that's impossible. They also keep saying that, like, the malfunctions in the pods are just impossible.
Right. Yeah. Like, nothing was supposed to mess up on the ship. It was impossible.
It's literally, it's a modern day Titanic, if you think about it.
So eventually he decides, okay, I'll wake her up.
He's waking her up 90 years before they're supposed to reach this place.
Because that's when he woke up.
And there's no way of putting them back into hibernation, so he's basically choosing to kill this girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Or at least dooming her to a future of just living on the ship alone with him.
And the robot.
Which is, I think, the best case of Stockholm Syndrome the world has ever seen.
That's a good point. That's a solid point. He's going to keep it from her, right? And he tells the robot, he says, this is the bro code. You can't tell her.
Yeah, so automatically you know that the robot's going to tell her.
Right, he says, I'll be the one to tell her,
Yeah.
Don't tell her.
But robots don't understand bro code.
They do not understand the bro code.
What he should have said was, just don't tell her at all. I will tell her, but don't you ever say anything about it ever.
Yeah.
And then he'd listen.
Or wipe it from his memory bank.
Right, well, I mean, he's a mechanic, so he can totally do that. That's what they showed. They showed that a mechanic can basically do everything except for open fireproof doors and fix the spaceship as a whole.
And the dialogue in this film is just atrocious.
Oh my god.
There is some awful, like some of the worst lines I think I've ever heard in a feature film or in this movie.
I thought about this a lot. I think the formula goes, two people are having Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt are having a conversation, and they're just like, some witty banter back and forth.
Yeah.
Typical first date witty banter.
Right.
Followed by
know you stuff.
Followed by Chris saying something extremely blunt, like, I don't know what else I can say to you with that face. Like, something like
he's hitting on her hardcore,
right.
And creepy.
And then a beat of them looking at each other, and then it cuts to another scene, and they're either having sex or they're doing some sort of game. Seriously, that's the formula for every conversation they have in the first 45 minutes. Also, she's a writer, but for some reason, this movie doesn't quite understand the difference between like a writer and a journalist.
Right.
So like, she flip-flops back and forth. She keeps talking about this book she's writing about her travels, about her life, and then it flips over to her like interviewing Chris Pratt and being like, I am a journalist. She says she's a journalist.
I'm a journalist. I know people.
Also, she's like a gold member too. We find that out really quickly.
Right.
So she's like a high-level member. So she was like a good writer back in New York.
A good journalist.
A writer-journalist.
Here's what doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, if she's a journalist, all right, we're in the future, right?
Yeah.
As much as it's sad to say, journalism is on the decline. I think we all accept that.
It is.
So how is that still a profession?
What, are you looking for a raise? Get out.
There's like those scenes of him forging the ring. You remember that?
Yeah. He gets out this box that says precious metals, and we're like, what is he gonna do? He makes her a ring. I'm like, that's kind of cute, but he's gonna ask her to marry him?
Yeah.
Like, what?
So yeah, it's her birthday, so he goes into the, bathroom or whatever to kind of, get ready to do this thing.
Yeah.
Get ready to propose, right? And the robot just spills the beans, man.
They had this, like, little three-way conversation.
Anyway, there's no secrets between me and Jim.
Is that so? You heard the lady.
But then he leaves!
Yeah, he should not have left at that point in the conversation. Like, you knew some shit was about to go down.
Like, if the robot said something right off the bat, you could pretty easily spin it.
Yeah.
And then, like, recover. But, like, he leaves him alone.
Yeah.
So that she can fully find out that Chris Pratt woke her up.
Right. And ruined her life.
And literally, in the way where the robot says it, it's not like, oh, he wanted some company.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, he talked about wanting to wake you up for a month. And she's obviously very upset.
At first, it shows them going their separate ways. And, there's like that montage of her running and like he's trying to win her back, right? Yeah. And then it cuts to that scene and he's like laying in bed and he wakes up and she's standing over him and she's pissed, man.
Oh, she's so mad.
And she just starts wailing on him.
Like, and we're not talking we're not talking like the typical like female beating on a dude in a movie. Like,
no.
She's
punching him in the face.
She's going to kill him.
She like gets up on top of the bed and starts kicking him. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, she starts kicking him. She starts like wailing on his face, wailing on his chest.
Oh, she's
like kicking him. And she pulls out this extra large crowbar.
Yeah.
She's ready to kill this
Yeah,
dude.
she's like inches away from murdering him. So then she leaves and then and then he's still trying to win her back.
The ship, by the way, is like miles long.
Oh yeah.
But for some reason they only confine themselves to like a very small section.
That's what I said.
Time.
Once you break up, you're gonna split it down the middle. This is my side of the ship. This is your side of the ship, right?
And they just keep having these these awkward confrontations.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like weird conversations. He tries to get her back over the megaphone by saying some cliche stuff. And then all of a sudden we hear, who planted a tree
on my ship? And it's Lawrence Fishburne.
It's Lawrence Fishburne. They both come running. Yeah.
It's Morpheus.
You are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
So he has the wristband band that will get you into the section with the captains and the doctors and all the important people of this ship.
The full crew.
And they wake nobody else up.
No. Lawrence Fishburne, he's like, oh, we gotta fix the ship. Something went wrong.
Right.
And they go up to the control thing, and there's kind of like that. The ship's computer is kind of like an homage to 2001.
Yeah,
like Little Red Eye.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
So Lawrence Fishburne's like, we gotta fix this ship. Then it sets up that he's sick. He starts coughing up blood, and he's like really sick because something malfunctioned with his pod.
Yeah, like he's dying.
But they don't wake anybody else up.
No, they don't.
Dude, this made me so mad. This movie,
they literally have. He's a deck captain, so he has access to the entirety of the ship, and yet he And yet they don't decide maybe we should wake up. There's got to be at least one person that's in charge of the hibernation pods.
Yes.
That can at least understand how to, like, you know, deal with them.
To fix it.
To fix them.
Yeah.
And maybe put them back in hibernation.
No.
There's got to be a team of doctors that could help Lawrence Fishburne. They could have woken anyone else
Exactly.
up.
At that point, you gotta, like, if you cough up blood, wake somebody else up, man. There's thousands of people on this ship that are in your hands.
There's 5,000 people on this ship.
So yeah, Lawrence Fishburne's in this for like maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15.
Maybe 15 minutes, yeah.
But he's really there just for the exposition about, you know, we gotta fix the ship.
And to provide, like, a bridge for J-Law and, like...
and Chris Pratt to
get back
to start working together again. Yeah. So then Lawrence Fishburne, you know, he goes to the med pod and it tells him that he has, like, what, 500 diseases?
Yeah, 500, 250
and
diseases.
They try to give him
like
some
that.
pills, and that reminded me of that scene in The Matrix.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
So then Lawrence Fishburne dies.
They don't wake anyone else up.
Yeah. The reasoning is they don't have time to recover.
They don't have enough time.
Like, what?
And, like, clearly, like, you know, Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, they both had hibernation sickness when they first came out of the pods.
Right.
But it was mostly like they just didn't feel super great.
Yeah, you know,
it was like
you
having
gotta
like
take
a
a nap.
stomach flu and you took a nap and you were fine.
But can't breathe.
You didn't take your contact, did you?
No.
And you were going to work today. That's my man. Keep going.
Charge.
You choose. Label says take this, but only when you stay home. Take this and you'll need 6 for just today.
6?
Or take this one little contact.
That settles it. But what's this improved?
That's good. Means you'll get all their decongestant without their pain and cough things.
I'll phone you from the office.
Contact is the keeps you going cold medicine.
Hello.
They didn't have time for someone to be able to push through that.
Yeah.
To go and fix the ship.
Or give them instructions. They're like,
Literally
oh, we're gonna go
any
figure this out on our own. It's a mechanic and a journalist / writer are gonna figure out how to fix this spaceship. You know?
Yeah.
What?
If one of them dies, like, or both of them die in this thing, they don't have someone else
then
on the
everybody's
ship.
screwed.
They literally everyone's screwed.
The ship's done.
Which I feel like, and even so, this brings us back to just the basic point of, like, there is 5,000 people aboard this ship.
Right.
That's flying through, like, 120 years or something like that.
Yeah, the whole trip was supposed to take 120, I think.
So the whole trip's taking 120.
There's a lot of numbers. They threw a lot of numbers at us. I don't know. They get kind of confusing.
You think that there would still be, like, a small crew of alternating people that went in and out of hibernation to at least just maintain
Or a robot. You know, they programmed this robot to serve drinks. Why didn't they program a robot to go around and check to make sure the pods are okay?
Yeah.
You know, and do general maintenance on the ship.
Also, this is another thing. If no one's supposed to be out of the pods yet, why is it everything is activated in the ship? I feel like that'd be a huge drain on power.
Here's the other thing. The ship starts getting error messages.
Yeah.
Why did it not wake up any of the captains, any of the engineers, anybody that could fix the
Like,
problems?
we're talking, it's not like they got, like, 5 of them on this page. They've got, like, the full thing is, like, full of error messages.
Yes.
Like, it's like, the computer even says, everyone's gonna die.
Yeah.
And, like, they didn't wake anyone up. You'd think that there would be some sort of safety thing.
Nobody
built
wakes
in.
anybody up.
This is what I didn't understand. Because Lawrence Fishburne showed up,
Yeah.
they realized they needed each other, and then they can start loving each other again?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Remember, Jennifer Lawrence kind of like, she just kind of like lays it all out to Lawrence Fishburne.
He woke me up. He took away my life.
I know, and I'm sorry, but there's work I
It's murder.
You're right, Aurora. But the drowning man will always try and drag somebody down with him. It ain't right, but the man's drowning.
Because of that, even though Chris Pratt basically doomed her to live and die on this ship for the rest of her life, like, it's still okay.
Yeah, she still loves him.
It's fine. You can still love each other.
Yeah.
You need each other. Like, okay.
So then they're working together to fix this ship.
Somehow Chris Pratt kind of realizes that he can replace this part. But because, even though he replaces the part, it still won't ventilate because something's locked.
Yeah, there's like this huge fire in there.
It would have been fantastic. You would have made this movie just from here on, just fantastic.
There's a million things.
No, well, this is the main thing. If he would have put their piece of computer back and repaired it, and then the reactor was fine, and then J-Law decides, you know what? This guy screwed me out of, living my life. Screw him. And just, like, does something and just
throws him out into space.
Throws him out into space. Or just, like, blows the ship up. Like, just something really dark just to throw the audience off. Because, honestly, we just needed to feel something.
There was a lot of ways they could have made this movie better. Throw a xenomorph into the equation. That would have been pretty cool. There's like this romantic moment, right, where she's like giving him the helmet. She's come back to me, but she doesn't give him a goodbye kiss. He might die.
Dude,
there's a high probability that he might die, right?
For sure. Oh, they're definitely for sure.
Of course, but we know this is Hollywood. He's not gonna die.
No.
So, anyways, he goes out onto the ship and he's trying to fix the ventilation system.
Yeah. But so he realizes that he has to take his little thermometer, sticks into like this little hole, and then twist it to open up the door. But he has to stay there.
Yeah. Because the door won't stay open.
The door won't stay open. Just another tool that the screenwriter was like, that'd be a good idea to build some tension. Like, there's just no reason for it.
So he sacrifices himself, right? And they fix the ship, and then he's tethered, obviously, because they want to keep.
I forgot that he. Oh yeah, that's right. And I actually kind of got excited here because his tether. After he gets basically blasted out of this hole and it fixes the reactor, his tether snaps. And he just starts floating off into space. And I was like, is he going to die?
Dude, we were hoping he would die because that would have made this movie. I was really hoping, That would have made this movie, but no.
Yeah, no. You can see like his face mask is starting to freeze.
Yeah.
Like his oxygen level's low. And then he passes out. They give the big goodbye speech to each other. And then she goes out and tries to save him. I'm like, all right, yeah.
Yeah, and
he's going to float off into space. Yeah. No, she jets right off there. Of course, the tether is just barely too short. So she doesn't quite reach him.
But she grabs his tether.
Grabs his tether.
His torn tether.
Because of coincidence and ex machinas, he has to pull him back in. So he pulls him back in, puts him into like the little auto dock bot.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he won't live now. Maybe he'll die here again. No.
That would have been cool. Again. There was a couple times in this movie, like if they killed off one of the characters, I'd have been like, okay, now I'm in. Right. Now I'm in. This is worth the money.
Oh yeah, if they had advertised this as a love story, and then just about like hour 15 in, killed off Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, that'd have been a ballsy move, dude.
I would have crapped my pants.
She does like every single option to bring him back to life. Yeah. And the computer's like, you can't do this. Like this isn't gonna work. Do it anyway.
Multiple procedures are not recommended.
Do it! Just do it!
I'm pretty sure if you did all the ways you can like resuscitate someone all at once, I feel like it's gonna kill him no matter.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's no way that's bringing him back. This science doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. No. I remember after the movie we discussed the physics of this film for about 30 minutes, and none of us could agree. I mean, I'm no scientist,
right? Yeah,
or mathematician.
No.
But I don't think the screenwriter was either. Yeah, but he comes back to life, and then that's when he realizes that the med pod, it could put her back. It could put one of them to sleep.
Basically, they have a machine that could put you in a coma.
Yeah.
For that amount of time.
Yeah.
But even so,
it wouldn't be like the hypersleep pod.
Right,
it would just put you in a coma.
Which I feel like even if you put yourself in a coma, you're gonna age 90 years. You're not. It's not gonna stop your aging like the pods do.
Yeah. This would have been a better plan, we think.
Yeah.
Ignoring the fact that they probably would age in the coma because we don't know.
Yeah.
We'd assume.
Assuming that they don't.
They would not.
Assuming
we decided that maybe they should do shifts. So there's 90 years left before there was 90 years. Who knows how many years.
Yeah, well now it's more like
88 or something.
88, probably 87, 86 or something like that.
So they should split that time equally in the pod, and that way when they land onto the planet,
they'll be the same age. They'll be like, they'll be like 60 or 70.
Yeah, but they'll be able to go to that planet and they'll be able to live together. Here's the other thing, it's in the future, so average lifespan of human beings has gone up.
Right.
We don't know where this is.
Again, we're not scientists, so
but I'm just saying
a grain of salt. But
I'm just saying it's been proven that the average lifespan has gone up. Could have lived until they got to the planet.
Oh, they never. If
they did the shift.
If they took shift, but we don't know because the science isn't established.
Science doesn't make any sense. They fall in love. Jennifer Lawrence writes her book.
They fall back in love. They kind of write the book, but we never really see much of it.
No.
But she's like, dear passengers.
But we have this voiceover at the end. Yeah. The great voiceover.
Finally, the crew wakes up and they go into like the little strip mall place that's in there,
and it's covered in foliage.
Oh yeah, it's like they basically build this whole ecosystem out of this fountain and this tree.
Right.
And there's birds flying around. There's birds. I was like,
where did the birds come from?
Made me mad.
None of this makes a whole lot of sense.
Also, the tree.
What's the tree of life, man?
The tree of life. But you remember the one shot too of the tree that looked like the opening for like some production company?
Oh yeah,
like
it looked awful. Oh, it was a giant CGI tree. Oh, that was another thing we needed to talk about. There's so much CGI.
So much CGI.
Like pointless CGI.
They spent all of their money getting Chris Pratt, Jennifer Lawrence into this movie, and then they're like, you know what? We don't need to pay anyone else.
Right.
No crew to back this up. Let's just get a crap ton of CGI.
We'll make it in the computer.
Right. Yeah.
They did the George Lucas.
They pulled a George Lucas.
I may have gone too far in a few places.
Just a butt ton of CGI. It looks so fake too.
It
doesn't look futuristic.
It's really bad.
It looks fake.
This is a 2016 film,
right?
And this looks worse than some early 2000s CGI.
Even the tree just looks bad. Acting is okay.
Some of the delivery, dude.
Some of the delivery
was terrible. I don't know if we can blame the actors for that.
No, it was clearly like one takers where they're just like, you read the line. That's
Moving
good. Moving on. We got to go shoot this tree in front of a green screen for 30 minutes.
I will give the movie this. They didn't have Chris Pratt play his usual Chris Pratt,
That's true, yeah.
They did have him at least try something a little different.
I feel like this whole movie is just the screenwriter basically stole a bunch of different elements.
Yeah, he took bits and pieces from great sci-fi films.
Yeah.
The greats,
The greats, yeah.
He's like, oh, this will work.
Even the good modern ones, he was taking like those.
Yeah.
And then just threw them all into the movie, hoped that getting 2 big A-list actors and a nice budget on some CGI would make this movie a good movie, and it didn't.
It did not. Instead, it's a run-by-the-numbers romance kind of thing.
And don't go see the movie. Don't pay for it. If it gets on Netflix, don't watch it.
No
hit on like Jennifer Lawrence or Chris Pratt. Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, the script was awful. From the get-go. Like there was no way that was going to make a good movie.
Right. Yeah. The script was garbage. Dialogue was terrible. The idea, conceptually at its base, if they were to explore all the scientific stuff that they should have in this movie and made it more accurate, then maybe.
I just don't feel like they took the most interesting angle with this concept.
Like 50 people or 100 people woke up, and then a year it was like a reoccurring event. Like there's like this asteroid that kept like rotating and kept hitting the ship or something.
Yeah.
And just like every year or so, like more people would wake up and be like entered into like this whatever the state of society was at that point. Like it would start out as like this fine like little democracy, like there's a board, maybe some dissension, and then it would go into the next one, and this dude is completely taken charge.
It's a fascist regime.
It's very fascist. There's a lot of cool concepts that could probably come from this movie.
And they just didn't explore that at all. So yeah, I would not recommend this. Would you?
Don't watch it.
Yeah, go look up top sci-fi films. There's a lot more better sci-fi films.
Go watch WALL-E. That's this movie except in a better
WALL-E, Alien, Terminator. Any 2001, anything.
You can even go watch Interstellar.
Interstellar kind of had a similar love angle, but it didn't force it down your throat. You know?
And at least they did the physics kind of on point.
Oh yeah, no, that was scientifically based. This was not scientifically based.
This was like kid writing like a dream journal in his room.
This was a 7th grade science paper that they turned into a feature film. Take it easy.
Yeah, see ya.